this occasion either. Ladies and gentlemen, David Connolly.
Righto. Now, where was I? Oh, that's right. Well, welcome to the after lunch session, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully we can talk to you and keep you awake after you've had a good feed. I'm here to talk about just a National Farmers Federation update, of which I'm a director of the National Farmers Federation, and it's on the theme of keeping farmers farming. And like Henry, I'll have to organise to use this slide thing. The only apology I will make is if you've come in to listen to the usual David Connolly fire and brimstone and kick the door down and bang the desk, then you'll be sadly disappointed because I'm representing NFF up here at the moment and I need to watch my P's and Q's. Although I often wanted to use the type of direct language that was promoted by Adam Ferrier in his marketing talk, but of course Will Evans's job was to keep me from doing that. Click. 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 Did you break it, Henry? Hello? Slide. Click. Sorry to wake you. Yeah. And as I'm a PowerPoint bloody powerhouse, I want to be able to show it off. Nothing? Send it to them. That's how they got my name there, look. Right, I'm going to get on with it anyway. Founded in 1979, the NFF brings together the state and commodity representative groups from right across Australia to advocate on major national and global issues impacting the sector. Recognised as one of Australia's most trusted and influential industry bodies, the NFF has been at the centre of some of Australia's most significant policy reforms, from trade and deregulation to industrial relations. Globally, the NFF forms part of the World Farmers Organisation and Cairns group of farm leaders to put together the views of its members in global policy-making forums. It plays a critical role in ensuring that our grassroots farming organisations can have a uniformed voice on the issues that matter, making it harder for politicians to divide and ignore our industry, which of course, as we've heard today, is the goal. Now, if the PowerPoint was working, you'd see a slide of all the organisations, of which NTCA is one. Members of the NTCA are represented at NFF by Ross Staines, who was voted into the position again yesterday, and he's been doing a great job in a complex area. The volume of red tape and restrictions on our right to farm being cooked up in Canberra is like nothing we've seen before. My comments and views as NTCA former president are well documented. In the past term of Parliament, our team in Canberra have had to contend with a biosecurity tax that would have seen us pay for the risk our overseas competitors create here in Australia, vehicle emission standards that push up the cost of equipment before we have any viable alternative, water buybacks that threaten to take around $600 million of farm production off the table, slashing of visa programs that have exacerbated chronic workforce shortages, union-driven IR reforms that have radically expanded union powers on Australian farms and supply chains, a new tax on superannuation that would impact thousands of producers on day one and force the sale of family farms. Imagine a tax where, because your property increases in value because of markets, you'll have to pay tax on that unrealised value. These fellas must go to a school to come up with these ideas. an unchecked rollout of tens of thousands of kilometres of transmission lines riding roughshod over farms and communities, and proposals to rewrite federal environment laws and introduce federal cultural heritage rules. And of course the disastrous policy that NTCA has had a bit to do with and had a lot to talk about, the banning of the export of live sheep, selling out the livelihoods of our colleagues in WA without any basis in fact or science. NFF have been an instrumental partner in our fight to be compensated for the live export ban. I'm one of three that sits on a committee to advise the solicitors and barristers in that action. Imagine us advising solicitors, but that's our role on behalf of the cattlemen and the Brett Cattle Company action. I acknowledge Hugh Niverson. Hugh is the chair of the National Farmers Fighting Fund, and it's great to see Hugh here, and he has led the charge to finance our action against the government. Of course, one of the ways the government fights the action is to just keep it going on and on and on, and the costs of interest and solicitors' fees and that action just mounts up. So one is to sap the National Farmers Fighting Fund, and it's been great, the support. Are we on? Right, let me put up Donald Trump. There he is. Beyond Canberra, major challenges continue to brew globally, from the looming threat of direct tariffs on Australia from the United States, to the economic fallout of a global trade war, to the continued pressure of misguided environmental requirements from bureaucrats in Brussels who have never even set foot on an Aussie farm. As a trading nation and a trade-exposed industry, we stand hugely exposed to these global developments. We're not just vulnerable on the export side. COVID showed just how fragile we are, how fragile our supply chains are for the machinery, chemicals and fertiliser needed to grow things in this country. Every year our self-sufficiency in these critical inputs continues to slide backwards, and the countries we rely upon to supply us become fewer and fewer. The rules-based system of global trade that has served the world for the last half century is breaking down. We need to be having serious discussions about how we best protect our ability to grow and trade agricultural commodities from our distant corner of the globe. We need a strong partnership with the Australian government to tackle these global challenges, and that's one of the roles that NFF performs. We've stepped up our advocacy through the Keep Farmers Farming campaign. Launched in 2023, the Keep Farmers Farming campaign was industry's response to the litany of anti-farming policies stemming from Canberra. This represents a huge shift for the NFF, which for many years has prioritised collaboration and constructive relationships with decision makers, and has caused a bit of consternation amongst our membership. Imagine an advocacy group like NFF actually hitting the table and advocating, and that's where we've been able to take the organisation to. Established in partnership with member organisation, the campaign seeks to highlight the damage these policies cause our sector. The campaign has seen paid advertising rolled out in key seats across the country, warning everyday Australians of the risks of not backing the sector. It's seen a strong public relations push generating thousands of TV, radio and newspaper stories, getting our message directly to metropolitan Australians. And we've led major demonstrations with tractors, trucks and people out on the street in multiple rallies demanding their voices be heard on a range of issues. With an election looming and all signs pointing to a minority government, we're continuing to sharpen our advocacy to protect the industry. Let's be clear about what's at stake in a Labor, Green, Teal minority government. They will try to kill off live export. They will try to kill off the diesel fuel rebate. They will try to strangle land management in new reams of green tape. That's why the NFF is working hard right now to sell the positive story to the potential kingmakers of the new parliament, and extract commitments on what the major parties will and won't do in government. We're taking the message of farmers directly into key marginal seats and letting those voters know what this means for their access to safe, affordable food and fibre. So let's see some of the things that we think we might have achieved. You can read those. Despite what has no doubt been a challenging term of Parliament for the sector, the approach taken by the NFF has paid off, and the NFF has delivered dozens of significant wins for its members. Some of these, like amendments to industrial relations reforms, saw subtle changes that excluded farmers from the worst elements of union power grabs. Others, like preventing the biosecurity levy, stopped bad policy ideas in their tracks. In other areas, like in competition or telecommunications, we've partnered well with government on new ideas to level the playing field for farmers and people in the bush. Some of our wins, or most of our wins, are by hard drudgery, hard work behind the scenes. It's not sexy, but it's good work nonetheless. But we have to keep the team united, and that's Team Agriculture Australia. Some of our biggest challenges as a sector come from within. We've heard several speakers today talking about keeping the team united. The state of farmer representative bodies around the country is a mixed bag. Like any volunteer and membership organisation, keeping farmers engaged in their representative bodies is a constant challenge, and it's on us to keep showing them value. The NFF has worked hard to diversify its revenue and build a sustainable business. That's what has allowed us to lead with a stronger voice. Our member organisations are not all in the same position, and tough conversations are happening about how we structure national advocacy for the future. My message to people involved in those conversations is that while it's all good and well to talk about ourselves, and we should welcome that scrutiny, we can't take our eyes off what we're here for. With the likelihood of a diabolical minority government only weeks away, they would love nothing more than to come in and find us punching on with each other rather than holding their feet to the fire. We've got a lot to be proud of in our advocacy, both at NTCA and at NFF. We're headed in the right direction, but there's a lot more work on the horizon, and we can only face up to that together. In closing, I'd say some people have really struggled with membership of NFF, but what I have learned is to get involved, assert your view, help fix the problems, or as Adam Ferrier might say, pee or get off the pot. The same as I promoted membership of NTCA, and that's to get involved. Thank you.